couple of days. It's been wonderful. The hotel is fantastic. The food and the people has been very, very forthcoming. So we are very pleased with that. But apart from that, our supporters continue to grow around here in India. We know we got, 35 million as a fan base here in India alone. We know cricket, which we respect, which is the number one sport and a religion to you guys. And having the background coming from the Caribbean, of course, I do understand everything about cricket. And we know Dhoni here is your number one cricketer. So, but we are here to obviously embrace that, the growing supporters here in football, that the sports continue to grow in India, which is great. And we look forward to being part of it. And of course, we have a massive game tonight. So again, hopefully that we could come out victorious. But apart from that, India has been great.
On the cricket front as well, I've been watching a bit of the test, Australia and India, so please guys, go on and beat the Australians for us and for yourselves during the second test. A wonderful match that is. Wes, you've been here both as visitor and as a professional footballer, of course. You enjoyed a spell in the Indian Premier League, so tell us how much you enjoyed your time here for that.
Yeah, it was brilliant to play in ISL. Obviously it was for Kerala, and I know they're arch rivals to Chennai, but it's always good to be back. The people are humble. I love seeing them, and I've always got so much respect for them. I mean, I had a great time the 7 months I stayed here. I've actually been to Chennai a couple of times before, and we've had a look round, and it's a great city. And I'm just going to, really enjoy today with the fans out there watching the game against Liverpool. It's a massive game for us, and it's one we've really got to win. Just for being a Manchester lad, it's probably the biggest game for myself. So I hope you all enjoy it today.
And there's no doubt it is a huge fixture this evening. Both of these gentlemen have played in that magnificent game and in fact scored against Liverpool. Dwight, what's the feeling like? Wes, you got a goal against Liverpool, Dwight, you got a couple. So what is the feeling like? I remember an FA Cup goal in the treble season in particular was a terrific moment. But what's it like when you score against the arch rivals Liverpool?
I think it's, obviously Wes has grew up through the Manchester right. I came there and having to embrace what the Manchester-Liverpool derby is all about, fully understanding, and I think it helps me having the class of 92 in the dressing room to see the desire and the passion and the build-up to the game, what it meant to not just these players, but to the club, to the fan base, and obviously the history between the both clubs. Being dominated within the 90s, the 80s and 90s, Liverpool to a certain extent, and to see Man United come into that frame and starting to take the dominance. So the rivalry got a bit heated, certainly in my time, but love those moments because throughout your career, that's what you really done all the hard work, the training, the preparation to be in those circumstances, and having the opportunity to play against Liverpool in such a hostile but fair environment is the ultimate, and I was very lucky to score a couple of times against them, so that makes it even better. But my best feeling outside of winning the treble is the year when we beat them in the FA Cup. That energy and passion that I saw within our fans and the players, the embrace, I've never felt anything like it. So having that experience is absolutely wonderful.
And Wes, as well as talking through your experience of playing Liverpool as a professional, as Wes was a graduate from the Manchester United Academy, you played against Liverpool from all age groups. So when did the rivalry first get drummed into you about how intense it was, and what was it like playing from both 10, 11, 12 years of age against Liverpool right up through to the first team?
I honestly think just because of history, Liverpool used to dominate, and then we started to dominate. I think the history just shows how big the rivalry is. I mean, I can remember my dad and granddad making me sit down and watch that particular game just because it was Man United versus Liverpool. So that's been brought up with me. I've not known any different. That's the first game I would look at on the schedule. And it's one that I always particularly wanted to win out of all of them. It didn't matter if we played too well, as long as we won. But I think the two clubs have so much respect for each other, with the history and the past. I think that's what makes it such a big game.
On to this evening's game, then please stick your hand up and we'll get a few questions from the floor. But for this evening, Dwight, we go into the unusual position for a Manchester United side of being many points, in fact 16 points adrift of Liverpool going into the game. If they were to beat us tonight, we'd be 19 points behind already. How vital is it we get something out of the game, and what for you could be key into achieving a positive result?
I think the one thing that I've always learned of playing under the guidance of Sir Alex Ferguson is to always, we give respect to the opposition, which is fine, but we have to be united. We have to play in the attacking form. I think to win games, sometimes you have to grind results out, but I always think if you're on the front foot, which in my time, we always been on the front foot, and taking on the opposition even in their own backyard. And I think for us to get any type of result tonight, I think that's the kind of approach. We can't be anywhere in a negative sense, because if you do, I think the fact that Liverpool are playing well, they're on top, they're on such a high at the moment, the confidence is running through them, and we need to get in their face. You know, the old derby that we used to play, Wes will tell you, we used to get into Liverpool face all the time, and I think they don't like it. They like the confrontation, which plays into our hands, and we feel that we got good enough players, enough to really go on to get the result. But I'm just hoping that we do play in that fashion tonight, and if we can, then who knows?
Fingers crossed for us. Right, let's get a question now from the floor here. You've got a mic there, excellent. Say your name, who you work for, and then ask your question.
Hi, Weston Brown. So I am from the Hindu. My name is Prakash. My question basically is that you were part of the treble-winning squad in the 1999. So how would you compare the team back then to the team that is playing this evening? What are the strengths and weaknesses? How will you compare the two teams?
I mean, I think we talked about this over the last couple of days. Someone asked me to compare the 99 to the 08 team, and it's very hard to do. I mean, I was